G'day, in this video I reached Port Phillip Bay, which is where the Hume and Hovell Expedition finally reached Bass Strait in 1824 on the 16th of December. They at the time thought they were at Western Port Bay, and it wasn't until a couple of years later that Hovell returned to the area and realised their mistake, and they were actually at Port Phillip Bay. And in this video we meet with author of this book who will explain his research and why he believes the termination point of the expedition before they turned around and went back home was at Werribee River, and that they visited Point Cook and Point Gellibrand, and we'll be visiting those sites in this video as well. Now, just to give you a little bit of background as well, the map that sent Lance off on his research journey that he will talk about in this book and in this video, the same map I found. You'll remember at the beginning of this video series that I visited the Mitchell Library at the State Library in Sydney in New South Wales to view Hovell's journal, and they had a few other artefacts of his as well. While I was there, I had a look through them, and he had a copy of this book, William Bland's Journey of Discovery to Port Phillip Bay, and in his copy, which was an 1837 edition, there was also a map, the same map that sent Lance on his journey. So let's check it out. This is exciting. This, we think, is Hovell's personal copy of William Bland's book. And look at where that red line goes to. That is not Corio Bay. Wow. Okay, so it is a second edition, and it looks like Hovell's signed it. So if this was his copy, then maybe he drew that red line. I'm here with Lance Pritchard, and I've told you all about Lance's book, the Hume and Hovell Expedition, Termination, second edition. And we're here at Point Cook, so Lance is going to show us why he believes this is where Hume and Hovell actually reached Port Phillip Bay and not at Corio Bay.
Yeah, well, unfortunately it's a terrible day for this, and most unusual. But what they would have seen when they arrived at this point, what would have appeared to be an island out in that direction.
Yep.
Well, they thought that they were at Western Port, and they would have expected to see an island.
Yeah.
But
I thought it would be French Island.
Yes,
Yeah.
French Island. But in fact, what they were looking at was the top end of the Bellarine Peninsula. Mm-hmm. And with water each side, Geelong is actually straight down in that direction. Over the horizon, you can't see it, but the top end of the Bellarine Peninsula near Port Arlington is higher ground, and that appears to be an island.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Also, this probably doesn't appear to be a real point at the moment, but yeah, the tide's in at the moment, but it does continue further out that way. Because this area is all low and the trees weren't there at the time, of course, they would have been able to see back this way to the water, and of course this way to the water.
Yep.
So therefore it did appear to be an extreme point with water in both those big arc.
Yeah, you could definitely see water on both sides. Yeah.
This is the map that actually started me on my research journey, showing the route that they travelled, and obviously finishing before the You Yangs in Geelong.
Yeah.
This image now is on State Library Victoria's website. Originally it was not available to the public, and it was the State Library that actually asked me to write the first book.
Sorry, that's the Werribee River?
That's the Werribee River.
Is this the Maribyrnong, which was the Arndell?
Yes, that's right.
What's this one?
That would be Corio Creek.
Oh, okay, all right. And Point Cook is here?
Yeah, Point Cook would be that little one there before the river, and then this would be Point Gellibrand.
Point Gellibrand.
At Williamstown.
And we'll go there after this.
We'll go there this
soon.
afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the less familiar 32-point compass rose that Hovell refers to.
Wow.
And there's only 11 1/4 degrees difference between each point. So normally the one that most people are familiar with is the 16-point compass rose, where it goes straight from south to southwest.
Right.
A lot of researchers have taken south by west to actually be southwest, which put the expedition much further west than what it really was.
Is that why you think they think he got to Corio Bay? Yep, one of the reasons. Yep.
Now, if you go exactly by Hovell's journal, south-southwest for 2 days, then reaching the Arndell River, which I've got plenty of proof that the Maribyrnong, the saltwater river, was the Arndell.
Yeah, so it was Arndell, then saltwater, then Maribyrnong.
Yes.
Yep.
Then they travelled for a short distance southwest by south. He took bearings using his sextant and equipment and thought that they were above Western Port Bay.
Yeah.
So he thought, okay, we'll go direct south. But anyway, they went direct south. Now, Hovell gets often crucified for making the mistake. But really, it was 3 months since Hovell left Sydney.
Yeah.
And it means that his chronometer, a fancy word for a pocket watch, was only 2 minutes out after 3 months.
Yeah, right.
And because he used a little contraption called a false horizon, because they weren't looking at the water, so for latitude it was incorrect by less than 1/3 of a degree. So he was only out by 1/3 of a degree and only out by 2 minutes. So then they reached Point Cook and then travelled in a southwesterly direction along the shore for 6 miles. Well, that virtually works out perfect.
Yeah.
Here we have the outbound journey. This is their campsites. This would be roughly, of course, just roughly. December the 14th, December the 15th, December the 16th, where they camped without water. They had a very short day on the 17th and rested the cattle that day for them to recover, ready for the return journey the next day.
And they had to walk up, because this was salty water here, and they had to walk
Yes, they had to come. Yes, it's quite a few kilometres up the Werribee River before they come to fresh water.
Yeah.
Now that site is roughly behind the Werribee Golf Course and Mansion, in that general area between those two properties.
That's very thoroughly researched, Lance.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for explaining that. Yeah.
No problem.
This is the Werribee River, right next to where the golf course is these days. Oh, so this is where you're saying it's salt water below, but fresh water more salty below.
Fresh water above the ford and salt, well, a bit of salty water below.
Yeah. This is the monument in Werribee by the Werribee River. This is a Hovell tree clone planted by the Werribee River.
We're on the southern end of Point Gellibrand.
Okay.
This was the afternoon of the first day of their return journey. So there's the return journey starting from the Werribee River.
Yeah.
They did a little detour down to Point Cook just to confirm what they'd seen.
Yeah.
And then they continued on
To here.
to the neck of land that had a creek on the left side. If you travel Hovell State's 15 miles, there's nowhere down here, if you're coming from Geelong, that you can get to anywhere that certainly matches up with all of the observations that were made.
So each one of these is an observation that they made at that point.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but even if you look at these two observations, which is Mount Dandenong and Mount Beenak, you have Mount Dandenong and Mount Beenak.
Yeah.
So perfect. Cannot argue with that, and that's what the Surveyor General has said too.
I'll put a link in the description below to Lance's website if you'd like to learn more and find out where to get a copy of his book. There's also a PowerPoint presentation on his website. So Lance has talked us through those days where they reached the bay and then commenced their journey home. They had another month to go. They arrived back at Hume's outstation in mid-January 1825. And there are a number of monuments commemorating the return journey, and I've visited a number of those. So keep watching because there are more videos to come.